Get ready for a premier event. This is the opening weekend of the FIL EBERSPA Luge World Cup, and we're in Lillehammer, Norway, debuting a brand new discipline in international luge. It's the mixed doubles team event. A little later on, we have mixed singles team event, as we will place the men and the women together on the same team. Think about it in terms of the traditional singles and doubles races, and then take the mixed team relay, where you have 4 different disciplines, sort of cut that in half. You've got the compromise, where we'll have doubles and singles competition. Hi again, everyone. I'm Tim Singer, and welcome to our ongoing coverage of the EBERSPA Luge World Cup Tour. The Wintersport track has been filled with fun and challenge throughout the weekend. Here's a good look at the 3D map of the track, with the doubles competition coming up first. They will both start from the same place on this track, just above curve 4. Right now, I'm pleased to introduce from Team Canada, a longtime singles and doubles World Cup competitor, Caitlin Nash. Caitlin, welcome to the microphone.
Thank you so much for having me, Tim. I'm very excited to be here today.
Great to have you with us. Now we're going to show this little graphic and then give everyone the PO view, as they say in Germany, the Schlitten camera, the bird's eye view. You know it well. So please tell us, as we get to this shot, about what some of the challenges are of the riders. And actually, I'm looking at my thing. We may not get that POV shot right now, but we'll talk about the weather conditions, which is maybe every bit as important. It's warm, isn't it?
It's definitely warm. It's a lot warmer today compared to the majority of our training we've had over the past 2 weeks. But who knows? It seems like the ice conditions were holding up well this morning. We saw the track record fall quite a few times in the men's race, so it should be some exciting racing this afternoon.
One thing that we can guarantee when we get a look at the start list in just a moment is that the first German team will set a start record and a track record. That's a guarantee, right?
100% in a new discipline. The first sled has the pleasure of being the very first person to set both of those records.
A wave from Jessica Degenhardt as the athletes are getting ready. Everyone seems to be kind of excited. I'm sorry for you, Caitlin, that Team Canada couldn't do it this week at least, but we anticipate we're going to see the Canadians a little later on this season.
Yeah, 100%. A little bit disappointing for us this weekend, but hopefully in the second half of the season here, we will be participating in all of the disciplines is the goal.
And you did take part in the test event last Monday in this team relay. So talk about maybe some of the components, how it may differ from traditional luge.
I think one of the biggest things is the gate start for the women now. It's going to be really interesting seeing the woman pull reaction starts in both of the events here. And I think it's exciting always to be hitting the paddle at the end of the run. That's, I feel like, the most exciting part of the team relay. So yeah, we'll see.
And if you're new to the sport, in the full team relay, the women always start. So that's what Caitlin's referring to, is the fact that they've never had to deal with the reaction time. It's the men starting things off here. And was that a double sled?
I think this is a 4-runner.
Yeah, this has got to be a 4-runner. So we're still a few minutes away from the actual start of the racing. I got a little confused there. But now you can tell us what some of the challenges are on this Wintersport track.
Yeah, I think Lillehammer it's a very fun track. It has a bit of a challenging upper section with the labyrinth, and then it's definitely one of the faster tracks on the circuit. Yeah, so it's made for some exciting training and some exciting racing.
Curve 13 really has been the spot for men, women, and especially doubles. It seems like an extra challenge.
Yeah, 100%. It's a challenging corner, and there's a big long straightaway afterwards that has been catching quite a few people up. So,
little farther up that outrun is where we will see the paddle, but now we actually see the competitors. And leading things off, why not? A brand new sport, a brand new discipline, maybe have 2 of the greatest legends in the history of this sport The Tobys from Bavaria, Tobias Wendel and Tobias Alt, 6-time Olympic gold medalists. Caitlin, you would like just one of those, right? You'd be okay with that.
100%, that's the goal.
Right. They finished fifth yesterday, the Tobys, multi-time world champions and World Cup overall champions. Wendel and Alt, all told, have 53 victories on the World Cup. They'll team up with Diana Eitberger and Lena Machina coming up next. Another difference, Caitlin, is for the relay event, at least for the men in the full team relay, the men start at the lower start where in some cases they've had 0 training time.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's one of the most challenging parts of the relay is that the men are moving down in start height. So it'll be cool to see everybody racing this new event from their designated start heights for World Cup racing. Looks like the doubles here are having a bit of a rough run. A little bit high off the end of 13 there, but they have got it back online for these last 2 corners of the track.
Uncharacteristic bobbles for the Tobys, and here is the paddle. So they hit it cleanly, Eitberger and Machina. Now they had a DNF, Diana's first race with Lena yesterday, and they crashed in run number 1. That was very unfortunate from an athlete on top who's an Olympic medalist. They're also struggling a little bit on those early corners.
100%. That was not, I would say, the ideal transition from 5 to 6 there, but it's a difficult, very challenging section on a double sled. I think they've done well to get it back online here.
The first of 11 sleds in this brand new competition, Germany number 2. Germany, Italy, and Latvia each have presented 2 teams in this competition. Finish curve, there's a slight uphill here. It looks like that the paddle is in a fairly nice spot.
Yeah,
some of these tracks, it's really rough to get it together to hit that paddle.
100%. There's quite a few tracks where it comes up very quickly out of the last corner. It's nice here. It's not a super consequential finish curve, so you can get yourself set up to hit the paddle.
144.148 for Germany number 2. A little later on, the very last sled to go will be Germany number 1. Egert and Mueller, who won yesterday. Degenhardt and Rosenthal, who finished second.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of a rough run for both of their doubles teams here. Some uncharacteristic mistakes from the men's doubles team there, but they both hit the paddle and they had a decent start time out of there. So I think that's really all you can hope for in a new first discipline.
And for Magdalena and Diana, just making it down, that's an improvement over yesterday.
100%. I think they'll be leaving here happy that they ended up with a good run.
Germany in the box, and they will probably stay there for a while because all things being equal, despite the problems that Caitlin was alluding to, on paper, that German team, Germany number 2, certainly a lot more accomplished than the next 4 or 5 nations to come down. But anything can happen, and let's see what Romania can do. First up, the men, Hondarek and Molcha, coming off of a 17th place finish yesterday.
A little bit to the left of the start ramp there, but they did a good job correcting that. It didn't transpire into anything difficult going into the first corner.
You have slid doubles for years. Were you the top or the bottom?
I was the top woman.
Right, so not 100%, but a good chunk of the driving falls on the top person, right?
Yeah, definitely. The top person is responsible for a lot of the driving. The bottom person is responsible for the stability of the sled. Whoa, very high on the end of 13 there, but good correction in the straightaway.
And you're both responsible for really being in sync with one another.
Whoa.
This is trouble. This is not the spot where you want to have problems because you got to get up.
Hit that pad.
And here we are with Leluca Stramatraru and Michaela Carmen Manalescu. And if you, Caitlin, are still competing in the sport when you are Raluca's age, that means your career will be something like 25 years.
I know Raluca is definitely a veteran in this sport, but I definitely admire how she's had a successful career in singles and now is taking on a new challenge in doubles.
Exactly, and so focused and so dedicated to fitness, not to mention improving her driving.
100%. Luge is not kind on the body. Seem like they're having an all right run, looking like Raluca is a little bit hesitant coming off of some of the corners there, but they're fairly online.
Right, Leon and I were talking about this yesterday. Raluca, despite all of her experience, she was keeping her head up quite a bit, which, you know, the more veteran athletes generally don't. You usually see them tucked away back. So I'm not sure if that means she just wants to make sure it's safe and she might be willing to give up a little time.
Yeah, who knows? It could be nerves. It could be really anything. She's still fairly new in this doubles field, so I'm sure she just still needs some time to feel comfortable on that sled.
2 down, 9 to go. It's Germany leading the way over Romania. In fact, their advantage was about 0.3 of a second as we take another look.
Yeah, you can see a big mistake there on the end of 13, but they did a pretty good job of getting it back online going into 14 there. And then, yeah, once again, big hit there. It's not an ideal place to be hitting walls. It's starting to go uphill, so you're losing a lot of time.
The paddle is pretty much in a favorable position. What I was referring to earlier is a couple of the tracks, I forget whether it's Sigulda or Oberhof, you turn that finish curve and there's that paddle. You better have strong abs so you can get up quickly and hit it.
Sigulda is definitely a challenging one. Good start for these doubles boys here. Good turn to the start corner.
Italy always with the strong starts, at least in the last 5 years or so, but their results this weekend have probably been disappointing to them. Still looking for their first podium. A couple of near misses. I think Andy and Marion were just off of the podium in 5th. Dominic maybe 5th as well earlier today. This is the team of Emanuel Rieder and Simone Keinswaldner, 2 former singles competitors.
So it's looking like a fairly good run for them. They're not looking the most relaxed on their sled, but their lines have been pretty decent so far. So I'd say they're just looking to hit the pad here, and they do.
And they hit the pad. So far there has been nothing even remotely problematic about hitting the pad. And this is a young Italian team. They finished 10th yesterday. Nadia Falkensteiner and Annalena Huber. And one thing in the very early going to keep in mind if you watch Luge this year is that these nations that have 2 women's doubles teams, that's great. It's showing some depth, but it's also stressful because the early word is there may only be 1 sled per nation at the Olympic Games. That could change. We certainly are hoping it will, but that makes for a pretty tense next 14 months.
Yes, 100%. There's a lot of competition in these teams that are fielding 2 or 3 double sleds. So, yeah, I'm sure we're going to see a lot of people trying to put their best results down.
No problem again with the pad. This is a 2nd place time, 1:45.333. Italy still well behind Germany too, but well out in front of Romania. Ukraine waiting next. It seems almost like there's a little bit of fun, but a little bit of confusion on everyone's faces, as if all of the athletes are saying, okay, we understand a little bit, but still trying to get the feel of what this event is all about.
Yes, 100%. I feel like so far it's gone off pretty smoothly, but I guess you never really know with a new discipline until you've finished your first race.
Hopefully the reaction time wasn't that slow. We were looking at 2 different shots, of course, in the slow-mo replay. Really, reaction time is such a vital part of this, and It's fun to see one paddle hit, the gate opens. I don't even know technically how that happens. It's good wiring. Italy in second place right now, and next up will be Team Ukraine. Grabbing the shield, ready to put it down, Ior Hua, and Nazari Kashmar is his teammate. They finished 16th yesterday in the men's doubles. Not a huge crowd of spectators this week in Lillehammer. We were expecting a few more. They had a ski jumping event last week, and of course that is a national sport here in Norway, and even there they did not pack them in as they usually do. And what I'm told is Norway Wintersports really comes alive later in the winter. This may be a little early. This is also market weekend in Lillehammer. So, you know, why watch luge when you can shop, right?
Yeah, it's not looking very wintry right now in Lillehammer. I think they've had a bit of a warmer fall so far, so.
Hasn't that been the trend on the FIL World Cup over the past several seasons?
It definitely has, but we've been lucky. The ice here over the past 2 weeks has been so good, and honestly probably some of the best real winter racing we've had. Big mistake there in the straightaway. They've got a back line online 15-16 here, but that's going to cost them a lot of time.
And we'll see the split time hit. What the deficiency is, 1.7 to one of the busiest athletes in the sport this weekend, Olena Stetchke, Alexander Molk. And Olena, one of maybe three now remaining that do singles and doubles. She does, Wolfie does, one of the Latvians, I think.
Yeah, there's not very many.
Zana.
Yeah, there's not very many people that are doing competing in both disciplines anymore. It's very strenuous, and it's hard to manage competing and racing in both disciplines, especially in one weekend.
Way back when, that actually was the rule and not the exception. Almost all of the athletes, the men, did doubles and singles, which is a crazy thought now in the world of specialization. Ukraine hits the paddle in 147.300, fourth out of the four so far. The Ukraine program, of course, one of many nations in today's race that do not have their own track. They train a little bit here, but they train mostly in Sigulda, which is another track that opens early. Your track in Whistler, when does that generally open?
Whistler normally opens sort of end of October. We've been trying to get it open earlier in the past couple years, but we've also been struggling a little bit with weather and some warm falls. But I'd say the majority of teams start their season here in Lillehammer or in Sigulda. In
fact, a friend of mine in Vancouver just told me that the ski area only opened up something like a week ago in Whistler, Blackcomb.
Yeah, it did. We're having a pretty good snow year, though, so far, so it should be hopefully looking like a pretty decent season.
I have to check out our start list. Are we going to see Olena again later today? We are. She'll be competing in her fourth race of the weekend.
Wow.
A little later on in the singles.
That's incredibly impressive. Yeah. Props to her.
Absolutely. Now the team from Poland. This is a nation which traditionally turns a lot of heads in the full team relay competitions. They've had a podium, they've had some top fives. Poland has often taken advantage when some of the larger nations have had crashes. So this will be fun to watch. Himalewski and Kowalewski, 12th place finish yesterday in the two-run race.
Yeah, team relay and then events like this are definitely where having good consistent runs plays off. You're kind of relying on your other teammates to lay down good runs, and sometimes mistakes happen, and that's where some of these smaller nations can capitalize on situations like that. Fairly decent run from them here, sitting up a little bit coming out of 12, but that was a beautiful exit of 13.
So perhaps sitting up a little bit was what created that cushion of safety. Maybe if you go for it too much into 13, you're going to have danger out. I'm not sure.
I'd say maybe the opposite, honestly. Sometimes when you sit up, that's when there's a little bit less stability on your sled.
Okay.
So you're looking to be as relaxed as possible, and pushing your head back is generally a good way to help with that stability.
Good to know. Now here's the women's doubles team of Damovic and Pivkovska. 7th place yesterday. Now, admittedly, yesterday's field was a small one, but that still has to be their best ever on the World Cup.
It's exciting for them, I'm sure. Looking to be moving up the ranks a little bit. Good transition there, 12 to 13 for them. Very high on the exit of 13, though, and you can see some big hits.
And they are over. And really, it's a lot different than a normal race where you just need to carry across the finish line to stop the clock. Here, even if they had crossed the finish, Caitlin, they had no shot of making it up the outrun to hit the paddle.
Yeah, unfortunately, Lillehammer is one of those tracks where it's pretty flat here in the bottom and then goes uphill. So if you have a big mistake like that or a crash, you're most likely not going to make it to the finish line, or in this case, to the paddle. Disappointing for them, I'm sure, to not be finishing this race, but it's the first of many race weekends, so there will be more opportunity.
And we have a pretty good contingent of Polish viewers that have been texting in, so unfortunately for them, their team did not succeed here, but they have the singles to look forward to. So let's dissect what happened earlier.
I'm not sure if they're going to show us, but they're pretty high there on the end of 13, and a lot of sideways pressure coming out, and some big hits in the straightaway here.
I get amazed how you athletes, not that you crash, but how you can stay on the sled after a crash. It's incredible athleticism.
It's definitely a lot harder than it looks to get back on the sled. You can see there they went too early to 15, and that's sort of what flipped them over, but they both look like they're okay, and it's all that matters. So
we'll probably have a little bit of a break here before we get to our next team, the second Italian team, as they check the conditions of the ice. Germany went early. They still lead. They're certainly hoping for a Germany 1-2 sweep. And it looks like they're getting ready for Yvonne and Fabian pretty quickly, so that's a good sign. It's going to be interesting how they work the World Cup standings with this, because not everyone is going to have the same partner week in and week out. And my understanding, I don't know if you've heard how this is going to work. It's not necessarily like each individual will have a standing. It's Germany 2. So Germany 2 could end up being 7 different athletes during the course of the season, but that's how they're going to do the standings, by nation 1-2, and we'll see how all of that unfolds.
that'll be interesting to see. I'm not very clear on it either, but especially for some of the people that have a combined nation, like for example, in the singles race, yeah, Alex and Natalie are Australia and Switzerland.
Right. Japan and Ireland, right?
Yeah.
So some of them have committed to one another all year regardless. But in the big nations, different people will qualify as 1 and 2 each week.
Yeah, it'll be interesting for sure to see how that plays out.
Nagler and Malaya finished in 11th place yesterday, as Italy, as I mentioned earlier, really fighting hard to try to get a rare top 5 finish this weekend. This has been, to me, one of the biggest surprises. I mean, this nation has generally, especially in women's doubles, put someone on the podium every weekend, and they have a big hit.
Very early entrance to 12 there, but they did well to get it back online. Just another big mistake coming out of 13.
They've lost all of their speed, but they'll be nice and clean at least to hit this paddle.
Yeah, very disappointing for them, I'm sure.
Really a second behind. There's nothing that Andy and Marion, despite all of their success, there's nothing they can do to erase that deficit.
No, there's unfortunately no way they're going to be able to make up that much time in the bottom. All they can really do now is lay down a good run and sort of try to minimize the damage.
Just a disappointing weekend. I said it 2 minutes ago, I'll say it again. Italy will hope to regroup. Now, Innsbruck next week is still effectively their home track, and they generally put in some good results there.
Yeah, it'll be very exciting to see what they can do next weekend. I'm sure they'll be looking for some redemption after some challenging races. Bit of an early entrance there to 14 as well for the doubles team, but they had a fairly good run, I'd say. They'll be looking to hit the pad now, get this wrapped up.
Andrea hits the paddle 1.4, so really, actually, Diana and Lena had a faster run than the Italians with the women as well. So.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that that was the cleanest run from the two of them. They looked fairly relaxed in the top, but they did have some issues in the bottom there.
Already getting dark. Life in Norway in now December.
I know. I feel like the sun seriously is up for 1 hour here. I feel like this is the least amount of daylight I've ever experienced before.
The very first race I covered on this track was before they even had lights. So it was really, everything had to go perfectly just to get it all in one day.
That's crazy. A good entrance or exit out of 13 there. They look very relaxed in the straightaway.
So thumbs up for Andrea. Some waves, but likely no podium for Italy. They do sit in second and third place right now in the standings behind Germany. But now the big kids are getting out of school for recess, and these are the teams that basically have done the best over the first day of competition. So Latvia has 2 sleds in the top 5, or I should say the final 5 in the start list. Seviks, Miklashevich, and Lucas Krasts. They will be teamed up with Anda and Zana. Got to get there quickly when you're the women's team.
Oh, 100%. That's got to be challenging for the double sleds to get on and get ready in a pretty short downtime.
That's right, because you have 45 seconds or something, and for some teams the routine is 2 minutes.
Yeah, I know. It's definitely, people are going to have to refine how long they're sitting down for and how long it takes them to get ready. So there's no second chances here.
Well, already well into the red, and we'll see. The Latvian sleds were very fast yesterday in doubles down at the bottom of the track. Looping a bit though, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that was the best run from them. They're looking kind of uncomfortable in their sled, fighting a little bit through the bottom there.
0.3 of a second back.
That was a nice start corner though.
Anda Upait and Zana Kuluma finished 4th, just off of the podium yesterday, just behind their other Latvian teammates.
I'd say that was a fairly nice labyrinth from them. Anda has her head pushed way far back, which is good. It's an ideal aerodynamic position.
I know some lugers I've seen over the years put black tape on their shield to remind themselves to keep the head back.
Yeah, I've seen that as well. You're trying to look under that line, and it sort of gives you a baseline for your head position. They'll be looking to hit the pad here, and we'll see where they end up. Second place.
There's been one crash, but no problems at all with the pad, as Latvia slides out in front of the Italians. But Germany, number 2, the Tobis, Diana, and Lena stay out in front. Nice thing that it's a warm day. They don't have to put on those jackets and get cold down there in the leader zone.
Yeah, it's warmed up like 10, 15 degrees Celsius from last week, so it feels like spring outside now in comparison.
Just like all of last season.
Yeah, we didn't like that though. It's not ideal sliding weather. So
that drop off of 13 is amazing.
Yeah, 13's built quite challengingly right now. They were quite high on the end of 13, but they managed it very well, and they had good position in the straightaway, looking relaxed going into 14.
This is the first ever mixed team event. Doubles now, singles later. They will stage mixed team events in 3 of the stops on the World Cup this year. After Lillehammer, they will next take part in January at the second Oberhof race, and then after the World Championships, the first Asian stop, Pyeongchang, will have a mixed team event. Now we have some podium showcase athletes. Thomas Stoy, Wolfgang Kindl. Already a great weekend for the veteran Kindl, who took bronze yesterday in doubles and took silver today in the men's singles.
Yeah, great weekend for him, I'm sure. He's very happy. It's a quick turnaround between the men's race and the doubles race here, but they're doing quite well through the top here, but they are already in the red. Already a 10th back. We'll see if they can.
And the Tobies had problems, so we could see this actually turn green. This is about where Vendel and Alt had some skids, right?
Yeah, we could start to see them pick up a little bit through the bottom here. Hopefully they have a good exit of 13, and they do. That was beautiful. So a little bit rough there, 14-15 transition, but they are handling it well. We'll see when they hit the pad here.
Yeah, this differential is going to be very interesting.
Yeah, very close.
Very close. And now on course already, Selena Egla, Lara Kipp, multi-time World Cup winners. They had a rough first run yesterday, if I recall, but then moved up several spots in the second heat to end up in 6th place.
Yeah, I heard someone talking about it on the earlier stream, talking about climbing the elevator.
Right.
Yeah, it looked like they might have had a bit of an issue on the start there. They were pretty close to the right wall of the start ramp, but they managed it quite well. It was a little bit early to 12 as well. Some problems in the straightaway there. They did well to manage that early entrance to 15, though. They've got it back on track, but they're going to be far behind.
Third
now.
place at best. Let's see what the number shows us when they hit the paddle. Selena hits it cleanly, and 5th place behind the leading Germans, the Latvians, and both Italian teams.
Yeah, mistakes out of 13 there. They cost you big time, especially when you let them carry down the track a little bit. You could kind of visibly see when they were coming up the outrun that they were moving slower than the other sleds. I wouldn't say that was the cleanest run from them as a whole. There's definitely some mistakes kind of starting from the very top of the track.
Synchronization of doubles athletes with those paddles never ceases to amaze me.
Yeah, it's a very challenging skill. They work so hard to refine that. You need to be perfectly in sync with your partner.
Wow, Selena had a tough time this weekend on curve 13. Well, the good news, at least for Wolfie Kindl, is he can hustle back up to the top and get ready for his 4th race of the weekend. But for the rest of these athletes, the weekend has concluded.
Frustrating way to end it, I'm sure, for Selena. But there will be more opportunity.
The Germans took the lead early, Germany 2, and now they're one team away from guaranteeing a podium spot. It depends on what these Americans do. And this American men's team, Ansel Hogshaw and Marcus Mueller, have turned a lot of heads this week, haven't they, Caitlin?
100%. They're, I think, one of the youngest teams in the field, and I think they're going to be an exciting team to watch. They had some issues on their first run yesterday, but then to end the race with the fastest run of the second heat is pretty incredible to see.
They also won the Nations Cup with then a track record. Hogshaw, the bottom man, actually has Norwegian roots. His family came originally from Norway. Some of his family's still here.
It's exciting. He must feel right at home. They're already in the red here, though, however. Almost 2/10 back.
Now, if it's any consolation, most of the speed the Americans have found this week, and they've done well, has been at the bottom half of the track. So you said it was 2/10. Let's see what it will be at the paddle if they can stay clean. It's not perfect.
It wasn't perfect, but they did well to manage that on the end of 13. We'll see here. I feel like they'll be a little bit farther behind. Oh, no, they made up some more time.
So, yeah, those American sleds are still blistering fast down at the bottom and hot off of their first ever World Cup victory. This is the American women's doubles team of Siobhan Forgan and Sophie Kirkby.
Yeah, congratulations to them. That was really exciting to see them win their first race yesterday. Siobhan and Sophie have been sliding very well. I think there's a good chance they might be able to make up this time in the bottom of the track if they can lay down a very good run.
The USA has a long history of success in team competitions, often on weekends that they don't medal in any other races. Here they have podium, so let's see if they can add on to that.
That was a nice exit of 13. They're still in the red.
Should be a second place time as they hit the paddle a half second behind Germany, but into second. Their fate as a podium team in this race will depend on what happens with the final two.
I think they're going to be happy with those runs. Siobhan and Sophie have been sliding well all weekend, and Marcus and Hansel, I'm sure they'll be happy to put it down the hill straight this afternoon for one last time, and I think it's only a matter of time before we're going to see them on the podium as a pair.
Great view underneath the sled. They need some sponsorship. If our camera is going to shoot that low shot all year round, you have to start putting your, give the sponsors some love at the bottom of the sled.
That was a really nice exit of 13 for Siobhan and Sophie. That was a great run from the both of them.
Memorable weekend for this American pair. In fact, quite a few memories for all four of them. USA in second place. Two now remain in this premier mixed doubles team event, and now the second of the two from Latvia. Right now the standings are Germany 2, USA and Latvia 2. Still ahead, Germany 1, but here is the team from Latvia. Latvia number 1, Martins Bots and Roberts Pluma. Two newlyweds. Each got married this past summer, and a pair of Olympic medalists from Team Relay in 2022.
Yeah, this is a very successful team. I'd say they're fairly consistent as well. They go out every weekend and they are always pushing to challenge for a podium. So we'll see what they can do today. That was a pretty fast start time. So far, a good top section of the track.
5 World Cup victories all told for a still pretty young team, but from a great nation with tradition in doubles luge.
A little bit of a later entrance to 12 there, but they managed it well. Yeah, nice exit of 13 there.
One German team is already on the podium, another one set to go, but here is Latvia effectively battling right now with the USA for a spot on the podium. 0.02 of a second is close, so it is the women's case to lose or win. A clean run gives Latvia the podium. A mistake could hand it over to the United States.
It's gonna be close here.
What's nerve-wracking is we don't get any split times until the end. All we see is red.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I stand corrected. We have the 900s, but they're few and far between.
Yeah, definitely going to be interesting to see here if they can pick up any time in the bottom of the track.
Mistake-free gives Latvia a podium spot, and they are really well done.
Yeah, that was a beautiful exit of 13. A little bit late to 15 there, and then once again to 16. Not sure if it's going to be enough for them, fortunately.
Second place, and just ahead of the USA, 0.08 of a second ahead of the United States, still well in back of the German team that led things off. So right now it's Germany, Latvia, USA, one team remaining, a very formidable squad. Egert, Mueller, Degenhardt, Rosenthal. The depth of the Latvian doubles team is impressive. I mean, they're especially for the women, there are like 6 or 7 different women that have mixed and matched over the last few seasons.
Yeah, it's been really cool to see. I feel like Latvia is bringing new women's doubles team to the circuit, you know, every couple weekends, and all of them have the ability to slide and perform very well. So they're definitely a big threat in that women's field.
Podium for Latvia. It's second of the weekend. And now Germany, which has won 2 races already this weekend. 3, I should say. Women's singles, men's singles, and the men's doubles. And the men's doubles, the victory went to these two, the comeback of the year. Man on your left, right there, Tony Egert, the winningest all-time World Cup doubles slider, who yesterday captured his 55th World Cup title. And behind him, a young athlete, Florian Mueller, who won for the first time in the World Cup. You don't see a lot of debut teams winning in their first race together, no matter how good you are.
Yeah, it was very cool to see them, rock up yesterday and win their first race. I think they're going to definitely be challenging those other German doubles teams in that circuit for some top results this year.
Now, if they remain clean, and I have no reason to believe they won't, but they continue to lose time to their countrymen and countrywomen, you got to believe the track is paying the price a little bit.
Yeah, we could be seeing a little bit of track degradation.
Degradation
here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I applaud the attempt.
But yeah, it wasn't the cleanest run from them, so I think we'll see here from Jessica and Cheyenne sort of what they can do, and I think that'll be a good tell.
0.2 of a second is what Degenhardt and Rosenthal need to make up here. That is doable, but is it doable this late as the last sled of the race? We'll find out. They're holding steady, but not picking up any time.
Yeah, you can see a little bit. Some of those lines in the ice could indicate that there's some frost starting to form, but they're having a fairly decent run, so they definitely have the possibility to build a little bit of time here in the bottom.
Oh, they have given it away. Uncharacteristic mistake by Jessica. So will they hang on to second place? Still need to hit this paddle. They've lost all sorts of speed. It's 7th place. So Germany, too, who went first, they win the race. Latvia second, and the screeches you hear off camera are undoubtedly from a Team USA squad that have made a habit out of sneaking onto the podium in these team competitions, and they've done it again.
Yeah, congratulations to them. I'm sure they're very excited. I think it's the first medal for those the men's doubles team, so that I'm sure is going to be very exciting.
Their first weekend ever of racing.
Yeah, unfortunate for the Germans here, though. Jessica and Cheyenne had a big mistake out of 13, and yeah, there's really no recovering from that.
Tony was giving his review even before the women had gone.
Yeah, you can see they were just a little bit high there on the end of 13 and coming out with some sideways pressure, and they're looking to correct and just put themselves into a big skid there, which resulted in them hitting a wall.
So there you have it, a group of 12. History has been made here on the Lillehammer track, the first ever podium finishers in mixed team doubles competition. Germany, USA, and Latvia, and that is appropriate, Caitlin, because all things being equal, those have been the three nations that have been the most decorated all weekend long.
Absolutely. They all put down some good runs. That was exciting racing, an exciting debut race. I think the mixed team is going to be a very, very popular race format.
Little surprising with Austria, a bit of a disappointment, as Austria is the other nation that has had some success all weekend long, but it just shows you that one little slip, one bump leading to a small crash can cost you several places in the standings, as we saw a couple of times in this race. One thing that's been fun about being here, and this is why I'm sorry you didn't get a chance to race, Caitlin, is Lillehammer has historically proven to even the playing field. Germany, clearly the best nation in this sport, but more nations do get onto the podium.
Yeah, we definitely don't race here in Lillehammer as often, so it evens the playing field a little bit, sort of gives some of the nations that aren't on the podium, week to week, an opportunity to sneak in there.
And sort of lost on all of this is that woman there, Diana Eitberger, who had the crash yesterday, but Diana has now won races in 3 different disciplines. She has World Cup gold in women's singles, women's doubles, and now the mixed team relay. So that's a display of versatility and a good comeback after a crash yesterday.
Yeah, it's incredible to see. Congratulations to her. That's quite a resume she's got.
So the World Cup standings, I'm not sure we're going to see them because, again, it's a little confusing to figure out, but there you have it. It's Germany 2, or maybe they're all added together. We'll have to figure this out because Italy, obviously, and Latvia, with the two nations, are ahead of the USA in those standings. So maybe they add them all up. I promise everyone I'll get a clarification for this before we have another mixed team event. Still one more race to come here. We're going to endeavor to hear from some of the winners. Third place, once again, going to the United States. A great showing in a debut World Cup weekend for Marcus and Ansel, and for Chev. Weekend to remember on what has been an emotional period of time for the bottom slider for the USA, Sophie Kirkby. Second place to Latvia, and the win to Germany, number 2, Toby Vendel, Toby Alt, Diana Eitberger, and Lena Machina.
Hey guys, congratulations on your podium today. How do you feel about it in the first new event?
We're so excited. This race was so much fun. We're so happy to be racing with our newest teammates. Yeah, how do you guys feel?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Definitely a bit nerve-wracking for us. We've never done any relay, especially this one as it is new. So the pad, everything is definitely a new event for us, but I think happy with this. So yeah, good day.
Go Team USA! Thank you.
And second place once again goes to Latvia. Who will we hear from? Let's go down for the interviews.
Guys, congratulations on your podium on your P2 today. Tell us about your preparation for this event.
Ladies first.
Well, it was really hard to concentrate after yesterday, but we did it. Yeah.
Any challenges on the track today?
Yes, 14th, 15th, but it was a challenge yesterday too. So we're just happy we got to that point. So, yeah.
Thank you.
And the victory, appropriately so, goes to Germany, but maybe the surprise is it was Germany number 2. They went early and they held on to their spot throughout the race.
Guys, congratulations. You're the first winners of this new event. How do you feel about the new event in general?
Yeah, it's great to see that this mixed team relay is absolutely for us today. And I think we have a lot of, we were lucky guys, and it was great to show everyone that this new event could be, yeah, one of the best competition ever.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Congratulations. And Caitlin, it's a nice problem to have, but these Germans are going to spend the next 14 months really feeling a lot of tension because many athletes, many of them good, not a lot of Olympic spots.
Yeah, the Germans have a super big team. They have very deep roots in a lot of the events, and there's always a lot of competition. It's what makes them very good. But you know, any of those spots they're really up for grabs by anybody really could challenge for them, so we'll see.
Once again, Germany 2 takes gold in the maiden event in mixed doubles team competition. Still ahead, the first ever mixed singles with an added twist. For the first time ever, athletes from different nations will compete together as teammates. Stick around, that's about 15 minutes away. Caitlin and I will be back, so until then, thanks for joining us. So long briefly from Lillehammer.